Harry Litman, a major order by Judge Beryl Howell on Donald Trump's attack on these big law firms that he doesn't like. I mean, Donald Trump literally made an executive order. The executive order was called Addressing Risks from Perkins Coie, LLP executive order from March 6, 2025. He then accuses the law firm Perkins Coie. That's the name of the firm. It's a two-firm name that leads with the firm name. Trump writes in this executive order, whoever wrote it for him, in addition to undermining democratic elections, the integrity of our courts, and honest law enforcement, Perkins Coie racially discriminates against its own attorneys and staff and against applicants. That's what Trump and the administration and the regime is accusing this law firm of doing in a formal executive order, and then calls out specific lawyers by name and saying that they shouldn't get security clearances. Perkins Coie filed a lawsuit against the Trump regime, saying this is unconstitutional, unlawful. And a minute order was issued moments ago from federal judge Beryl Howell directing the parties to appear for a hearing on plaintiff's motion for temporary restraining order, that's Perkins Coie, in person before Judge Beryl Howell, and ordering plaintiff to serve defendants with a copy of this order immediately upon receipt to ensure that counsel for defendant has sufficient notice to appear at the hearing. Every action has an equal opposite reaction, or every violation of law by Trump so far, at least, has been met with, not all of them, but a powerful response. I mean, you and I were talking about, before even doing this video, about were we going to cover the Perkins Coie complaint and what they were saying, and then they filed it right away, and then the judge issued the order right away, show up Trump staff. And one of the things we know too is that this Trump DOJ is not made up of the A-listers also who they're sending. Perkins Coie, let's be clear, they are A-list lawyers, some of the top lawyers from the top law schools with federal prosecutorial experience, some of the best in the country. And then the DOJ's been sending what's remaining of the DOJ, people who have been, let's just say, very unimpressive to federal judges when being asked the most basic questions. So, Harry, I wonder, too, who gets the short straw from the DOJ, who shows up to this one, who has to go in front of Beryl Howell and be asked, you're really going to justify this? As a lawyer, I mean, I just think about at law school with the Perkins Coie and all of these firms like Covington, with their booths, and the comity, not comedy, comity amongst law firms and the bar. And then you're now at the DOJ pursuing something, in my view, so patently unlawful, but so against the whole legal profession too. Harry, break it down.
Yeah. So, one, that's exactly right. And they frame it that way. They say this is an assault on the whole legal system, on the whole our whole adversary process. We didn't want to do this, but come on. And the actual order, as you say, Ben, is outrageous and so dishonest. Perkins Coie, basically known as a good Democratic firm, Bob Bauer, who was the White House counsel under Obama, Mark Elias, who's now formed his own. They were the mainstays of Perkins Coie. But that's Perkins Coie's hugely respected, and all it is that they do Democratic causes. And based on that, the executive order has findings about the risk they present to national security. They name out, they actually work with George Soros, oh my Lord, and these claims that they've now thrown in about racial discrimination are because Perkins Coie, like every big law firm around the country, has some kinds of policies to be sure they make diverse hires. But make no mistake about it, this is the second one that Trump has signed. The first one was Covington and Burling, who had the effrontery to represent Jack Smith. Trump, when he did it, crowed that there were going to be many more. And this is the absolute beyond the pale outrage of with really not even a conceivable legitimate federal purpose but it's effective. I know for a fact that people at Covington are like, it makes people nervous. It makes people nervous at Perkins Coie because you have to think about clients who are going to retain you for big matters with the government and have to think, am I retaining people who are firms who are persona non grata? It's just flat out, besides an unconstitutional deprivation based on their views, First Amendment. It's a flat out kind of interference. It's trying to make their business really hurt for no good reason. And it's a nasty, nasty technique, because even if they prevail under the law, that kind of stink or worry will abide. And that's why Trump is doing it. So it is, besides unlawful in 8 different ways, it really is, as they say up front, a total attack on the whole adversary system. You're right, the poor schmuck lawyer who has to go on in there and try to make some claim based on, there's going to be, if they don't withdraw it right away, okay, let's show us your facts about the danger to the national security. Let's show us your facts about these things that you just put in there willy-nilly. And it is very telling that Judge Howe, who's been strong in many different ways, she was the chief judge before in a lot of the Trump stuff, comes out of the box with, see ya tomorrow at 2. I really think she's going to be putting the DOJ people through the ringer, and she ought to be. Nobody can defend this order. Nobody can defend it against Covington and Burling either, but they just, nevertheless, it's a whole kind of second level of authoritarian maneuvers by Trump to scare people, chill them, and make them, better go along and play nice to Trump. Otherwise, our business is going to be harmed. It's as nasty as it comes. And of course, for lawyers and judges, they understand completely. There's not even the faintest argument that there's something legitimate about it. So the department is going to have to try to defend these completely indefensible claims. They're going to get slapped around something terrible. And the only thing is, Perkins Coie, good for them, showing the, strength and resolve to go back and push against it. They're going to win, I think. And you're going to see the judges absolutely irate at the administration. But then, of course, at the end of the day, even after they won, are they still in this position where clients are, abashed, et cetera? They didn't have a good choice here. I like what they did rather than Covington, which is just kind of keeping quiet. And we know that other law firms, big law firms, are shying away from all this pro bono representation. I mean, think about it. Jack Smith, what did he possibly do wrong that he needs a lawyer? He acted impeccably under the law, admirably, laudably, and now they're on the defense because of these complete, not just illegal, but petty and retributive orders. And this is going to look really bad for the administration, and pretty soon, tomorrow at 2. I'll be looking forward to it.
It's an interesting strategy when you think about it, the lawyers at Covington. And just for our viewers and listeners, I mean, we're talking about these partners are making millions of dollars. These are people who went to the top law schools, who are representing the biggest companies and corporations on the riskiest bet the company, high stakes litigation that exists. And it's a fascinating thing that their equation to this all basically was, let's just ignore it. And if we just basically ignore it, not making the noise is better than even confronting it, because to me, at least, it shows that their is that Donald Trump's executive orders are all bark and no bite, and their calculus is just ignore this paper tiger and just don't bring attention to it. On the other hand, Perkins Coie, I mean, their calculation though is that if we don't stand up for us and we don't file this, they're just going to keep coming for the next law firms. And, we're a pro-democracy law firm. And so how could we represent clients in spaces like this if when we get attacked, we just do nothing. And it's existential for our business and also just being good Americans and caring about our Constitution if we have constitutional practices, to bring these cases. And I'll just leave people with this thought, Harry. I remember when I was representing Colin Kaepernick during the first Trump administration, get that son of a bitch off the field. Now Trump's done that. Get that son of a bitch law firm off the field. Get this off the field. Get this son of a bitch law school off the field. And this and that and the other. That's what we're seeing happening play out. You and I are going to be on the front lines covering it everywhere. Make sure everybody you subscribe to the Talking Feds podcast, the Talking Feds Substack, the Talking Feds YouTube. Subscribe to it all. Harry and I will give you the outcome of that case and that hearing as soon as we find out. Subscribe to all of it. It's where I get my legal news from. Thanks, Harry.
Hey, thank you, Ben.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.